Hello, and welcome to Soroptimist International Voices, where we give a global voice to women and girls. SI Voices is a space where women's stories and issues are heard as we celebrate 100 years of our remarkable organization. We will reveal and rediscover the history of our global movement while educating and informing on many of the key challenges affecting women and girls today.
Hello, I'm Kathy Kaaf, a Soroptimist from Bonn in Germany. I have been a Soroptimist for 37 years, serving our organization of women in various functions. I'm honored and pleased to be the host of today's conversation with Beryl Magoko. She's a young filmmaker from Kenya who lives in Bonn since 2019. Hello, Beryl. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kathy.
With her films, Ms. Magoko is an anti-FGM campaigner. FGM stands for Female Genital Mutilation. Not everybody may know what this means. The United Nations define the cruel practice of FGM as the partial or total removal of the female external genitals. Beryl, you have been actively involved in campaigning against FGM, and your films directly address the issue. Can you tell us why this is so important to you?
Well, I'm a survivor myself. I don't like to use the word victim as people refer to us. We prefer to use the word survivor. So I'm a survivor because I was subjected into this when I was very young. You know, at an early age that it's a rite of passage, and you have to, and every woman has to undergo that. And there's no one who honestly tell you the truth about FGM, what they're cutting and why. So for me, once I went through this experience, I wanted to share my story, and hopefully I can save some girls who are misled. But at that time, I didn't have the courage to talk about this. I didn't know how, and because I was raised to know that we don't talk about taboos and we don't question. When you go through this experience or the practice, it's not that you only lose your genitalia, but it affects you in very many ways: physical, emotional, and psychological pain and suffering that you have to endure your whole life. So for me, I wanted to do my films to encourage women to talk about it, to address the issue, and to let the human rights activists do something against it. And I hope that also the government from these particular regions that practice FGM can do something. So for me, generally, I really wanted to talk about it and save as many girls as I can.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, Beryl. You left your village in Kenya, you finished your school in Kenya, and you went on to study filmmaking in Uganda, in Kampala. And then you came over to Germany, to Cologne. Your films directly address the issue of FGM and brilliantly showcase very personal stories. You have said you want to be the voice of the voiceless. Can you tell us what you mean by that?
Honestly, there women around the world go through so many injustices. I, as a filmmaker, want to give them a platform to tell their stories. You know, I want to tell women stories from a woman point of view, because in most of the issues I have been there, and I know how it pains. I know how it affects you to have a low self-esteem. I know how it pains to go through an issue and you have to keep quiet about it the rest of your life. I mean, I want to point out about these injustices, like women are dehumanized because of the periods. Women or young girls' clitorises have to be chopped off mercilessly. Some other part of the region around the world, they take off the breasts of young girls Or some other parts, they fatten the girls because the fatter the better. Early child marriage, these are the issues that I want to give a platform. And so since I found my voice, I want to give those women who don't have a voice a platform to tell their own stories. And hopefully the world will listen to their cries and do something against it.
Your autobiographic documentary film called In Search was recognized with many film awards. One of the prizes you received was the Soroptimist Film Award C-Star, which is a film award for female directors. Your film tells your own personal experience with FGM. Are you able to tell us what In Search is about and how this made you feel going back to Kenya, revisiting certain places and having to talk to your mother?
Well, In Search is all about my personal stories, my journey about FGM and wanting to go through a reconstructive surgery. It's a journey that I'm following. I mean, I have to go talk to the doctors and find more about this promising surgery. You know, it's just going to the world of the unknown, but I couldn't do it on my own. So I wanted to look for women who have gone through the operation to share their story with me and tell me more about it. Because when you hear that, oh, nowadays there's an operation that a woman who went through FGM can undergo, as a woman who have gone through that experience, you're like, finally there's a solution. So the film is all about finding this solution.
The reconstruction of the clitoris, which is really something which has only been developed in recent years. So you confronted yourself with this new method.
Yes. When I heard about this reconstructive surgery, I was like, wow, that's good news. I want to know more about it. So therefore, I wanted to make a film about it. And there's no way I can only make film about a reconstructive surgery and avoid the circumcision part. I had to talk about the problem and try to find the solution. And I could not do it on my own. And that's why I went ahead to talk to other women and share our experience and know that I'm not the only one who is affected by FGM, but we are millions of us, and FGM has affected in many different ways that we can relate. And for me, I usually say the best part of it was going back to Kenya to talk to my mother about my own FGM and her own FGM. It left me saying, oh my God, why did I wait all these years to have the courage to talk to my mother about it? And for me, that was a relief. And I honestly broke the taboos. I know that there are so many women who went through this practice and they don't have the courage to talk to their mother about this practice because, it's a taboo and you see it as lack of respect.
Beryl, what was the process like of making this film? How long did it take altogether?
Research, editing, and everything else, filming took about 4 years. It was hectic and emotionally exhausted, especially for me. Talking about FGM is not something easy. It's emotional. You're confronting yourself with stuff that you have tried to keep under a lock. And it's a traumatic experience talking about it. It's not easy. It took all my strength away. But it was a relief to do it. And in most cases, I was like, no, I'm done doing it. Why am I really going through this? But on the other hand, I was telling myself, hey, you're not doing this on your own. There are millions of Beryls outside there. They can't talk about it. So you're not doing it on your own, but you're doing it for them. So I could just give up today and tomorrow I was like a mad woman. I could go in front of the mirror and talk to myself how strong I am, how great I am. And I'm doing this not only for me, but also for other women who have gone through same experience or other traumatic experiences because they can relate about trauma. Despite that, I had honestly a great team that supported me in many different ways. I had a great crew of women and men, and they made life during that period comfortable for me.
It sounds like you were going on a 4-year journey of making this film and a deeply personal journey of reconciliation. Reconciliation with your mother, mainly. The film was such a big success. In Search was transcribed into different languages. It was screened at film festivals all over the world, and you received a lot of awards, including what I already said, the Special Film Award C-Star by Soroptimist Germany during the film festival in Berlin. How did this positive reception make you feel?
All this experience made me feel like hard work pays, and I'm glad that I didn't give up on the way. And no matter how difficult it was or the challenges that I faced, I managed to finish the film. And for me, that was honestly a good platform to showcase my work, meet other young women filmmakers, and I know that there's a group of dedicated women who can support me anytime that I want their support.
And what are your hopes and goals for the future as a filmmaker and an anti-FGM campaigner?
My dream is to continue making women films, especially African women stories. We are working on a project called Tazama, taking the two films that I did about FGM to the countries that practice FGM. So I want to start in Kenya and take the film to the people. We meet and we talk about FGM to create awareness and to create a safe place for the women to talk about this issue, hoping that they will get the courage to talk to their girls about the effect and the dangers of FGM, and they will have the courage to talk about the topic. In these campaigns, we shouldn't forget about men. We should always include men and not only try to like advise the girl child to say no to FGM because she doesn't really direct make the decision on her own. So men must be included in this struggle, in this fight, in these campaigns. And we hope that through that we can save as many girls as possible and hoping that we can do something to end FGM. And apart from that, to encourage the women who already went through this barbaric practice to talk about it and to give them courage.
What do you think, Beryl, we can all do to help join you and your fight against FGM?
All of you, anyone who knows something about FGM can tell the next person to create awareness. The more people know about this problem, the better. There is also financial support. You can support the local NGOs, you can support local campaigners and stuff like that to create awareness in schools, hospitals, and just generally creating awareness and supporting campaigns in many different levels and ways.
I think it is a great luck that women like you, Beryl Magoko, throughout the world commit themselves to the fight against female genital mutilation. It is estimated that more than 200 million girls and women today have undergone FGM. More than 3 million girls and women face the risk of being cut annually. Our Soroptimist International President's appeal focuses on FGM as a key area and supports local activists. Dear listeners, to support this work, you can be a campaigner, informing people around you, as Beryl said, about this cruel practice. You can also donate to our President's appeal. You will find more information on our website, soroptimistinternational.org. Thank you very much for sharing your fight against FGM, dear Beryl, and good luck for your future. as a filmmaker, and as an anti-FGM campaigner. Thank you, dear audience, for joining us. I hope you all, women and men, will help us fight against female genital mutilation through awareness and advocacy and action. Please join us for our next podcast. Thank you.
You've been listening to SI Voices, a podcast hosted by Soroptimist International. Follow us on social media for our latest news and updates at Soroptimist Global on Facebook and Instagram, and at SoroptiTweet on Twitter. You can also check out our website, soroptimistinternational.org. Please join us next time on SI Voices.